Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first thing on our agenda, we have approval of minutes, public and non-public from October 28th. I'll entertain a motion to approve both of those.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October 28th, both non-public and public.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right. Any comments, questions, or concerns on the public ones?
I have a correction on the non-public.
Non-public? Okay. Anything on public ones? Going once, going twice. All right. And non-public, what do you have, Catherine?
Okay, on roll call, strike Secretary Stacy because I had left early.
That's right.
Yeah, so that just comes out up there.
Yep. Oh, because yeah, that's right. In the list of people who roll call to go into non-public, yes, that makes sense. Yep.
Because she didn't go into session.
That's right.
7:30, yeah.
Yep. That's right. You already gone.
Typically, people will call it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. But her name was
It's
listed.
just, I think it just got hung up on the copy.
Yeah, totally.
That happens.
All right. Anything else from anybody? All right. Seeing nothing else, all those in favor of approval public and non-public minutes from October 28th, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, abstentions. All right, public comment. Any public comment at this time? Good evening, everybody. All right, we will consider that public comment. Up next, continuing business. Student representative, Abby Lockett. We have your report here, so take it away. Give us the highlights. What's been going on?
For sports, most of it is on playoffs. Volleyball, team lost in round 5 to Scenic, 0 in February post games. For girls soccer, they were 1 spot shy of qualifying for playoffs. For boys soccer, they lost to the number 1 seed, which was St. Thomas. 4-0 in the first round. Field hockey lost 3-2 in overtime. In the 4-5 matchup. Football, they had their championship game coming up on Saturday. Finals 34-20. Royals are the D4 state championship runner-ups. And for cross country, Carl Russell participated in the cross country meet of champions and placed 39th out of 140 runners.
Wow, that's good.
That's awesome.
And last report for the NEAS. Had the conference on the 22nd and 23rd, and students gave tours. For the arts, music, for jazz band, concert band, percussion ensemble, and concert choir, all working on our musical repertoire for our fall/winter concert. For our select students that participated in the Chorus Festival on the 3rd, and Tristan Clark, Adeline Josephson, Reese Woodward, and Abigail Lockett will be attending the New England Band Festival on the 24th. Also, your one and only Abigail Lockett will be our
She's busy.
For a position in New Hampshire All-State Band Festival for flute competition.
Best of luck to you in that. That's not easy. That's a lot of work. So.
For art, on the 15th, Mascoma High School students participated on a tour of the Hall Art Foundation in Vermont. Silas Jakowski created from ceramic bowls for Enfield Shaker Museum fundraiser for Soup Night. 3 art students, Brim Higby, Ian McLaughlin, and Jocelyn J. Kino, entered our Working New Hampshire Public Radio's Young Artist Project, and they'll be featured in a blog post and online gallery. 46 pumpkins were carved for the Canaan Hardware Store for the annual pumpkin lighting in Canaan. And on the 5th, the department welcomed visiting artists and health lawsuits about cyanide types. And on the 13th, Junior Singer Art Studio traveled to Keene to learn about glass blowing. For clubs, Student Council booked the prom venue and attended the Waterville Valley Conference on the 13th and 14th. SALT has more vaping awareness posters that are hung around the school. NHS had a trunk at the Enfield Trunk or Treat at the park. NHS is packing food boxes this Wednesday for the Thanksgiving food drive, and a faculty breakfast is planned for the 18th. Art carved their pumpkin for the town center. Writers Guild, their literary magazine submissions have finally closed, and they're working on finalizing for their publication of this year's magazine. Robotics preseason meetings have started. Interact recently had a meeting with other clubs from other schools to plan to get funding for hacking once again. Hopefully Lebanon will be hosting it this year. theater, the Paul play was quite a hit. There was a large attendance. And the musical has been determined. Not sure if I'm allowed to disclose it
Like,
yet.
you're gonna
You
leave
can
us a
tell, it's
cliffhanger
out.
like that?
You can tell, it's out.
Okay, it's, what is it, Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
Oh, fun!
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Origami Club has had 10 new members and we're working on our new service project. Math team had their first meet on the 21st at Windsor. DI, all 3 teams are meeting and working on challenges, and the Hawaiian themed murder mystery dinner took place on the 15th and it was a hit.
That was a lot of fun.
And for Quiz Bowl, we've been meeting every Friday and we qualified as a wild card team for the Granite State Challenge.
All right.
For
So that means
others-
you get on TV, right?
Yeah, well,
Well,
if
you
we,
get to the first round, right?
yeah, wild card has a preliminary round that's streamed, and if you pass the prelims, you'll
Okay.
into the normal bracket for airplay.
All right. But you're streamed, so best of luck.
Okay, for other school news, IRS, for the last week of the quarter, they participated in the game of Schoolhouse Clue, where there were clues given, and each student had to figure out what happened in what room, what item, and who did it. Seemed to be quite a bit of fun. Also participated in card writing activities with the veterans in the holiday season, and 138 cards were collected.
Okay.
For CES, they had their Veterans Day Assembly on the 10th, along with their veterans, and will be hosting a community parade on the 24th outside of school. For EVS, they had a whole school celebration for being safe, respectful, and responsible expectations or quarter one. All students participated in a dance party in the gym on January 1st.
Very good. All right. Any questions for Abby? Sounds like it's very busy time happening in the schools and lots of stuff going on. Anything else you want to add or anything else?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I had a question.
Oh, yeah.
What's the prom venue?
Oh, yeah.
Are you allowed to tell?
I'm sure it's.
I'm pretty sure it's the Common Man.
Oh, wow.
I know it's in Claremont.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Common
that's
Man's
cool.
Claremont?
I'm pretty sure it's the
Nice.
Common Man. It's really nice.
That's a nice
Yeah.
place. I've been there.
And their
Claremont.
price is really,
It's-
That's a
It's
great
they're
competitive.
working with us.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, it
And
is.
it's close, yeah.
Very
Very
cool.
Almost positive that's what it was.
Great choice. Good. Very cool. Good to get that set now.
Oh, they're on it.
All right. Excellent. All right. Saying nothing else for Abby. All right. Thank you. All right. Up next, we have Budget Committee. So you see the minutes in your packet there from the November 3rd meeting. That was with the SAU, Special Ed, and the district-wide budgets. Let's see. We talked about just little things in there. There were some things, for district-wide charges like internet and, stuff that Craig does. There's SAU specific stuff, like the stuff that's specifically in the building at the SAU. And then Chris talked a lot about the special ed budget. So you can see those minutes there. Any questions on any of that?
It's not in my pack.
Your budget committee meeting minutes?
No.
Okay. We can get you those. But then we had our work session yesterday as well. The budget committee had their work session. And there you go. There's some minutes for you. And so our their final budget that was presented came out to a 0.96 increase, I believe. And that was with a health insurance increase of 26.7 or 27.6? Which one?
26.7.
26.7. All right. So we budgeted for 20 and they came back with 26.7. And kudos to Amanda and Michelle and all the principals and everybody, the administrators for being very creative, trying to figure out how to make these numbers work. So it wasn't easy. But that's where they're at. I will remind the board that we have a joint school board and budget committee meeting on Monday, December 1st in the auditorium. Please be there. We will be voting on the budget that night.
Sorry, I checked with Martha and she said it's always in the community room, so I think if you wanted the auditorium, she's willing to change it. But she said it's always in the community room.
Is it? Okay.
I don't
I
know.
don't,
I
well,
asked her
just
today.
be in this building and we'll find
Would you
you.
say 6 o'clock?
We'll find a chair. Yeah.
Like about the money.
Yeah, we'll talk to Scott.
Yeah.
And we'll just double check. I think it makes more sense to have it in the auditorium.
I swear it's been in the auditorium.
I
I
thought
feel
so.
like it would be very, very tight to have it in the community
It's been
room.
in the auditorium all
Yeah.
the time.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe one year we've had it
I'll
down
double
there.
check with Scott.
I just put a sign up telling them to detour.
Yeah.
That's all.
But in any case, Monday the 1st at 6 p.m., be here in this building. Plan on that. It shouldn't be too long, but it'll be the public hearing for the budget. So we'll do that, and then that way we can vote on it when we'll see the final numbers, what the budget committee decides on it from there, and then we can give a thumbs up, thumbs down on our opinion from that. Any other questions on budget committee stuff? All right. Coming up next on our agenda, we have finance facilities. You'll see a little bit later in our new business, but we'll get to that down there. We had an abutting property request. We had someone from Indian River Realty come to talk to us. They own the property that is adjacent to the SAU, kind of next to our driveway, but in between the SAU building and Route 4. And it includes the Lynn Care building there. They're looking at potentially putting in a small building with some residential and some small commercial units in there. And what they had wanted to know was if we would be willing to talk about having an easement to access our driveway from the SAU for the commercial side of it. And their plan was to have the residential side come off the back where the Enfield Police Public Safety building comes off of. And so we just had a discussion with them. We talked about, this is very preliminary from their end. Like, they don't have plans. They don't have any kind of engineering design yet. They don't have anything like concrete. They just wanted to have this conversation saying, like, is this a potential? And, at our finance facilities meeting, we were just like, that's fine with us. Like, we're open to a conversation. That's where we left it with them. So,
What type of residents are we talking about?
I'm sorry?
Like elderly residents or disabled residents or?
No.
Oh, just like housing?
Just like, yeah, like some apartments, like I think 12, I don't know how many, but like a few apartments and then some commercial units underneath, like commercial and then like 2 floors of apartments above, right? Kind of tucked in that area there. So it's very specific. And like I said, they don't have any engineering or anything like that, but they were just kind of approaching us to see if we'd be open to having that conversation. So that's what we decided we talked about at finance facilities. So, but like I said, they don't even have any plans yet or anything like that. So.
Don't we already have one easement existing with the dollar store there?
Is there an easement on the? I think there might be an easement of like 3 feet, right, along our driveway.
You're right. I think they come out, and then that little bit there is the school, the SAUs.
Yeah, that sounds familiar now that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Enfield Planning Board told them to come talk to us because we're in a butter, and they would rather have them use our driveway instead of having another curb cut into Route 4 with bad sight lines and everything like that. And they said, come talk to us first. And so
It's all bad sight.
it's all bad stuff. Yeah, exactly. So this is.
They'll still have to have a hearing.
Oh yeah, they'll have to have hearings. They'll have to have all sorts of things through the Enfield Planning Board and stuff. So yeah, nothing's obviously set in stone or anything like that. So, but we talked about that. That sort of thing. We also had on our agenda traffic concerns. You may have noticed in front of Route 4 here on in front of the high school on Route 4, there were some tubes up in the last couple weeks. Through my work, we were counting traffic at the request of Chief Porter, and so we are going to be submitting an application to the state to do a road safety audit. And so we're doing some data collection for that. So the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission is working with the town of Canaan to do some data collection and get that application off to the state. And if it's selected, then the state will, at no cost to the town or the school district, be able to have some engineers come in and take a look at the intersection and kind of come up with some ideas and ways that it can be improved at low cost and different ideas. So that way, if we do find funding or we can get into the state 10-year plan or things like that. But it's just a step, just a free thing that we can do. So we decided to do that. Yep, and then Matt and Dan gave a report, just everything going through, talk about some budget stuff. We did discuss the location of batting cages at the down here on the field. We'll get a new map from Steve, but we talked about the location of the batting cages kind of lining up along the side of the softball field and along the side of the baseball field. And then we talked a little bit more about the irrigation down at the high school field, just to fill in on this conversation we had at the last meeting. And then we got to CIP audit and budget. No real updates on that aside from what we already talked about the budget. And then for Fresh Creek so far, this is fun, something fun. We asked after finance facilities for an update every month for negative school lunch balance. We are negative $5,174.98, and that was as of November 5th. So we are already 2 weeks out of that. So it's mostly at the high school and Indian River School. CES is only about $300, and EVS was like $28. So most of this at the upper grades. But we'll just keep plugging away at that. Talked in some more updates. There are some 3 drivers in the queue to get their CDLs, and so hopefully we will be knock on wood covered with that over there. And so we just talked about a few other things, and yeah. Any other questions about finance facilities?
Yeah, with the school lunch budget stuff,
Mhm.
I think that kids that would qualify, the barrier is their guardians or parents not filling out the paperwork. Is that true? Is there any way to get around that? I mean, I don't understand, like, it doesn't make any sense if these kids qualify, why they're not just getting it.
I know.
So-
Sometimes they don't qualify.
The one thing I know is that it's a real privacy issue with parents. So it's like, we can give the paperwork to them, but it's like, we can't in any way like facilitate that. Like, the school can't know who is on free and reduced lunch. So like, nobody in the school will know that, only the kitchen staff know that. So it's,
No.
I have one person in.
There's literally one person in the whole district that
Yeah.
knows. It's not even kitchen staff.
yeah, okay, so
Yeah,
it's very, my point being
Yeah.
that it's very limited in who has to do that. And there's, so we can present that paperwork, we can remind them of it, but we can't do anything else other than that. Because of those privacy issues, so.
What we do, Laura, is when we notice that families run up quite a bill, we ask the social worker to meet with them. So we call looking for the money, and then we ask the social worker to go meet with them, bring them in and say, look, you owe us $500 because you have multiple kids. Can we help you? Is there a barrier to you filling this out? Can we help you fill it out? If they're receptive to that, we will. Or we give them the paperwork again, or we say, can we put a payment plan together for you, or how can we help you? And sometimes we have good luck with that, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have parents that say, my kid just gets the lunch and I know somebody will pay for it eventually.
Literally, that's what they say.
There's a balance to
Yeah.
it, but we do, our social worker, Lindsay Parika, does a lot of work with families that are potentially at risk.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of kids that are direct cert, so they would be directly certified from the state, be denied or lose those benefits this year. We've seen a lot of, the threshold has not kept up with inflation.
Mhm.
So, to qualify for free lunch, I think a family of 4 can, has to make like less than $40,000 a year.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? Which is ridiculous. You can't, don't quote me on those numbers, I could be a little bit off. But you can't expect a family of 4 to live on $40,000 a year.
Right.
So it's a balancing game, and we do try our best. We do things like make sure that the kids are only getting the lunch, right? Not getting Slim Jims and, Pringles and, all those a la carte items. So we do really work to make sure that that's not happening too. So
Yeah.
it's tough. This is a large balance. This is one of the larger balances that I've seen in years.
All right. Any other questions on finance facility stuff? All right. Up next, we have co-curricular. Amanda, looks like you.
Sure. So you do have the updates as provided by Mr. Lanton and Mr. Stebbins. Danielle Thompson, as a representative of the Royal Athletic Boosters Club, comes to these meetings looking to help partner with us any way she can, letting us know about different fundraisers that would be coming out. The Tiger Run is something that they support, so Rick Courier, our cross-country and track and field coach, has the Tiger Run. This year it was a qualifier for one of the larger running groups in the area, Upper Valley Running Club or something like that. Am I getting that
That's
right?
probably a big
Yeah.
turnout, yeah.
And I believe they had over 120 runners take part because it was a qualifying race because of the half marathon.
Yeah.
So
That's important.
it was incredibly large. So they were just very thankful for anyone that came and helped volunteer to make that a success. But they do, it's a good fundraiser for our kids and much appreciated. So the Boosters Club, when our kids, our soccer players helped with the soccer jamboree that RAB organized, they were able to get t-shirts from the t-shirt guy that was there. This year, they're going to also run an MYSL basketball
Yeah, I was
jamboree.
gonna say January.
And I've asked, and our kids rep those, and so Danielle is going to put out, you know, instead of giving them shirts afterwards for doing it, I'm like, could you give us shirts before, so that the kids can wear those shirts while they're repping?
Yeah.
So she's gonna do that for us.
Nice.
Get that taken care of, so that will be really good. We're looking at quotes. Tina was out looking at quotes to get the track strip surfaced. I think she's got a good plan for that to be taken care of, and Danielle will partner with us if we need to write a letter to the Burn Foundation. We'll let you know more. Todd Thompson, as the Enfield Rec Director, could not say enough good things about our kids, especially NHS, in helping with trunk or treat. He said it was phenomenal. He said he would not have been able to pull it off without our kids. There were 2 kids that heard he needed help. They showed up. They worked late into the night. He said, go home. I'll finish in the morning. And they said, no, Mr. Thompson, we're coming back to help you in the morning. And they did. And then the rest of the NHS kids came. It was fabulous.
That's great. That's awesome. That's exactly the type of community event that we like to see.
Yeah, so it was great. It was very good. The whaleback ski program will happen, even though they will not have a running chairlift apparently, but they will still do that. And it looks like, if you notice, that there are about 120, 130 kids signed up for basketball. That's
Wow.
very promising. That's a nice feeder program, as I like to see.
All right. Cool. Any questions for Amanda on that for co-curricular? All right. Amanda, you're up next with your superintendent's report as well.
So you do have my written report in your packet. I'm going to skip the first item, and I'll let Jamie talk about that and when she gives you her report. I did get to see Great Expectations, I don't know, last weekend, the
Yeah, a
weekend
couple
before,
weeks ago.
last weekend. Very, very cute, very heavy, but still cute. I like something a little funnier. I'll hold on for the Stinky Cheese Man and other fairly.
I don't think that one's gonna be quite as dramatic. I have something about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold out for that. Few pieces of legislation. I'm gonna try as best I can to keep you all informed, but legislation changes very, very quickly.
Yeah.
2 things that you should know is open enrollment. Schools, Tim and I have been invited by Lebanon, and other local superintendent and school board chairs have been invited to take part in a conversation about what open enrollment means in the Upper Valley. Open enrollment, this is a concerning bill because not only, I'm a firm believer in maybe you were not a good fit for Mascoma, you were a better fit in Lebanon, that's fine. We could have an agreement with Lebanon and for you to attend there. Or maybe there was someone in Lebanon, wasn't a good fit, there would be a better fit here. The problem is they're charging tuition, right? So we would not only be expected to let kids go to another school district, but we would be expected to pay them. Pretty unsettling.
Yeah.
It's pretty unsettling because it would be a sum at least of $20,000, right? So open enrollment is very prevalent in Massachusetts, but it's subsidized by the state. So in Massachusetts, you could choose to go to another school, but the state provides that tuition rate to the
It follows the
receiving
kid,
school.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's something we'll have to keep our eye out on. It is not my intent to dissolve any local public schools, right? I imagine that we do take in a couple of tuition students from Newport or Claremont. It's not my intent to dissolve those public schools by putting an extra burden on them. And Tim and I will discuss that more with Lebanon and what it might look like. So we'll be looking at that. There is one SAU in the state that has a warrant article that says that they are open enrollment, but they are an open enrollment receiving school. They are not an open enrollment sending school.
Well, that sounds like a great arrangement for them.
Yeah, right.
Apparently that's illegal.
Yeah.
Apparently that's illegal. But if it's going to fly for them, that would potentially be something I think more school districts
Yeah, if
might
they get away with it, then, yeah.
Sure, we'll be open enrollment, but we'll not take your kids.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We're not going to let you
Love that
leave.
for us.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
not going to let you leave. And this, again, is an SAU consolidation piece of legislation that's out there. There was a study committee. That study committee did issue a final report. That final report said yes, you could save some money by consolidating down to one SAU per county.
Yep.
What they found in 1993.
Yep.
Now, this is in a direct contrast to the state of Vermont, who had a consolidation committee that looked at consolidating down to 5 SAUs. And Vermont said, nah, it's not good for kids, it's not what we should do, it's not going to save you that much money. That committee did say that it would be good to encourage SAUs or SUs, as they're called in Vermont, to group together and to consolidate that way, but on a voluntary basis. I do believe Governor Scott then replied to that he might be looking at a different committee to do another study on that. So we'll see where that goes. So Jade Adams, the former superintendent in Hanover, was on the Vermont study committee. So, Jay knows, he understands it. But there are a lot of issues. One of the ideas is that the superintendent of schools for the county would be elected. So that would be an elected official. So, and I'm not sure what the qualifications or the certifications would need to be for
That
that.
is wild.
Yes.
Zilch.
Well, thinking back years ago, when I first started, we were part of the Lebanon.
Yeah.
We were all on SAU.
Well, yeah.
It was way better when we
But then it
split.
would, but then it would put the things like curriculum and stuff at your local school board, so we'd have to manage curriculum at the local level in a much more hands-on way.
So my duties would be dissolved, they would fall to you all,
Yep.
and they would fall to the building principals to
Yep.
handle. So,
We're not gonna let that happen.
And
Not
would there
gonna
be any
happen.
like qualifications for the vote throners to?
yeah, I'm not even sure, I'm not sure they thought of that.
No.
But there might be a time, Tim, where I do ask you, and anybody else that might want to testify,
Yep.
to go and testify.
Yep.
The Superintendent Association and a lot of superintendents have said, this isn't good, but it looks like I'm trying to keep my job.
Of course.
Right? But you all can speak to local control and how we do what's best for our community, right? If we're one voice in the whole entire Grafton County, it's drowned out, right? Like, it's hard to represent all the diverse school districts in the county. It's very difficult.
Like,
So,
who's on this committee? Do they not have kids? Do they
I'll be
not
happy
see
to
that,
send
like,
it.
I will be happy
I'll
to
send
talk
it
about
that
that later, yeah.
do you not see how detrimental this would be?
I'll show you the pictures and then
Oh,
you'll
fantastic.
see how.
Oh, good.
So,
Some of
But yeah, you
those.
see how hard it is to get 5 towns together. Can you imagine getting all the towns in one county? So,
I cannot.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty much all I have, just a little bit about being thankful. I am thankful for this community. And, Michelle and I did work a lot with the principals, look at the budget, understanding that times are tough out there. There's some food insecurity in the district, but we're also responsible to kids, right? That's my job here, that's your job here. We're responsible to provide a solid education for our kids. And you'll see that, we did cut yesterday in the budget committee meeting another 100-ish thousand. They were things that can either be grant funded through the capital improvement plan, or don't directly impact our kids that attend the schools here. So those are things that we did pull out just to help balance out that 27, I round up, % increase in health insurance. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any questions for Amanda on that? All right. Up next, we got business administrators report, financials, and so you have your report, Michelle.
You have my report, you have the October financials in your packet. I did put in there, there's not as much as I would like to see encumbered already in the year, so I'm gonna start working. I'll send you each of the principals their year-to-date so we can start entering all requisitions, so we can get things encumbered, so we know where we stand. I talked about the school care rates, so you'll have those in there. The orange and yellow plans both had separate increases. And then, of course, we don't have the 2.0 plans yet, so those didn't have specific increases, but because we will be going to those next year, it's a smaller increase, if that makes sense. So we're going to go from orange to orange 2.0, and it'll make more sense when you see the budget. But and then, as you know, I spent a lot of my time recently on the budget and the negotiations. Next meeting, I'll have the default budget and the warrant articles ready for the December meeting. The warrant articles this year will have
the board and budget committee members from Dorchester, Grafton, and Orange, as well as the moderator and treasurer positions. And we'll discuss the financial, the capital reserve articles that we want in there besides the, of course, the operating budget and the teachers' CBA.
All right. Cool. Any questions for Michelle? All right. Thank you very much. As you can see, the financials in there, so you can pull over those. And if any bus routes update, do we have any updates from
We do not.
Butler? Okay.
Updates.
Good to know. I don't think we have any NHSBA delegate assembly. That was probably accidentally left on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything. All right. Quarterly reports. Which one of you would like to go first?
Tina has the farthest drive.
Tina has the farthest drop. Oh, somebody finally said that. Oh, all right, go ahead.
I'm just,
You might get a Christmas gift.
Get it. Get a close
I get what?
The Christmas gift.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
as long as it doesn't add up.
Thanks a lot. You didn't even thank me for going to the football game.
Let me get to my report.
Yeah, she's got to report.
So quarter one was really busy. Abby does a great job. I watch all the school board meetings. I really appreciate Abby. She touches base with the other principals, so she shares out a lot of the little details. I can say we do have our quarterly assembly on Tuesday for quarter four and quarter one awards. On Tuesday we have an assembly, so we'll be doing that. So when I wrote the report, my boys were headed to the football D4 state championship. And yes, I saw Brewster there, and it was freezing cold. I was doing continuous Facebook updates, and then I stopped because the game shifted. I apologize if you were following that. I will say our boys played with heart. They were amazing. They helped up other players. It was a great game. And I'm super proud of everybody's effort on the field, the sideline, and all through the entire season. It was a really challenging season. We had multiple injuries. We had kids come back to be able to play in the last couple of games. If you read the paper, there was a forfeited game with Raymond. A lot of adversity throughout the season, and this group just really persevered. So to see them helping guys up off was just, after a touchdown, helping people out. So that really makes me proud as a principal. The NEASC, we survived. It was amazing. I'll detail that in a minute. Great expectations took place. We're continuing with our building goals. We did not change them. We will continue working with those same goals moving forward. These are the goals that are on the improvement plan that NEASC looked at, and they kind of gave me a little bit of details. They thought we did really well. So we'll be focusing on 4 of the 5 goals moving forward that NEASC sort of felt like we met one almost completely, so we'll continue with those. Our SAT data, we did really well last year. All the efforts of staff really digging into data. We start December 5th. We'll be starting with our Khan Academy groups. Right now our students already are in the groups they will be testing with on SAT, PSAT testing day. So sort of familiar with staff, familiar with who's in the group. Then students also have WIN on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're in the same base group, but then they go meet with teachers. So on Wednesdays, starting in December, we'll have dedicated PSAT, SAT time. Khan Academy is a great support for SAT test prep. And you can see the trend over the 5 years, as well as related to the state of New Hampshire. I included our AP test scores.
Thank you for that, by the way. That's handy. Like, we've never had that before. So
Yeah,
that's helpful.
and well, I think it's great. Our AP test scores were very good. Again, AP, these scores can go off to the colleges. They can decide to take them, but really you want 4s and 3s. Sometimes they look at 2s, but really those are great to have. It also, it's an AP, on a transcript, it's an AP level class. It's a higher level class. Scores of 4s and 5s are excellent. We did one thing about breaking out the data. We were able to, so there's English, there's history, there's math, but it sort of spotlights an area that we need to work on. So it also does science, we have physics. We looked at AP stats. So although we had many 4s and 5s, there was definitely a struggle. It was a first year offering the AP stats, most scored in 1s or 2s. So now we can be reflective in the process of looking at the curriculum as soon as right away. That work already began of looking at what we need to do with the curriculum and to support students moving forward.
That's good to know. That was the first year that we offered that.
Yep,
That
as an
explains
AP
things.
class. Yep, so yes, I mean, that matters, so we
It
can
does.
be, you know, of that process and what we need to work on. I did have the SAS data as well. It was shared digitally. The SAS science, pretty consistent for students from 8th grade to 11th grade with the percentages. Coming up this week, Future Opportunities Fair is Thursday from 1 to 3. Middle school is coming over at 2 o'clock. That's in collaboration with Friends of Mascoma. It's a great event. All of, you know, different, we have colleges, we have different companies, people come in and share what they do. We have staggered times for students, so we don't have 300 kids in the lobby at one time. And they're able to circulate through the lobby and the cafeteria to meet different people from all different trades. Our NEAS visit, so we do have to wait the 4 to 6 weeks. It was really very much a learning experience for all of us. Curriculum coordinators, we got to meet with the individuals. There were teachers, there was a Spanish teacher, there was Peter Driscoll, who's the principal at Dover High School, Polly Camary, who's from my community, she's a school counselor, she was there. They really had high praise for Mascoma Valley Regional High School, and all of this community has. From the first look that they drove in to, as you read, I know Amanda shared the letter, they just gave us really positive feedback. You know, we were able to collaborate with them in a lot of ways. You know, what are you doing? And, you know, there's a math in the trades class that Hillsborough Deering offers that person, that individual, was able to connect back with the Stager of, is this a class that might work for our students? It was a great experience for all of us. And Peter Driscoll from Dover has a school of, I think he said 1,400 students.
It's only 1,400, it used
yeah.
to be 17.
Yeah, and you know, he's this tall dude, he's probably over 6 foot, and my students talked to him. They really, from the first minute they walked in this building for a tour, Abby mentioned that, they had nothing but high praise for all of our students and, you know, the curriculum and the classes they saw. So I really give all of that credit, you know, to all of this entire community. I did add a note in my report, I hope you read it, but it is very true of the educators and the staff in this building. They go way above, you know, Brewster was at the championship game this weekend. That means a lot to our students, our community, our athletes, our families. Our staff can often be seen, Craig goes to games and can be seen standing on the sideline. Whether it's basketball or, you know, it's National Honor Society packing food boxes. That's all of the school community, our staff, our students. I'm thankful to be the principal here. Learned a lot from NEASC, a lot we'll move forward with, but I think there's just overall, it was a great experience, and really, it's nice to be reflective and people see the work that we do. Any
Yes,
questions?
it was a great visit. Any questions for Tina?
Not a question, but a comment. But I know that NEASC is not fun. It is not a fun thing to do. And the fact that you're reflecting on it in this way, I think, really is commemorative of what this building has done. Because it can go sideways, and it can go sideways very fast. And the fact that you're able to have the feedback that we got from other principals is awesome. So
Yeah.
I commend you and this entire staff.
I really do. Our chairs, Lindsay Coolidge, Allie Tessier, Stephanie Cooney, they were the leaders. Our PLC groups were all geared towards areas of growth. The curriculum coordinators, the staff, we sat in this room for many, many, many months, years, preparing, and that all went into what we do. And I think what made us all proud is we were able to showcase that. You have to justify everything you do, every meeting, everything goes into, we shared it through a drive, and Study set that up for us, but we put that all together for them. It is a ton of work, but it's nice when you sit back and you hear these things about your school and what the school community does.
I also want to say they shouted out our facilities team, because Tina's not going to say this, but for only the second time in 10 years, we had a backup in the bathroom up there during the NEAS visit.
Oh my
And the
gosh.
NEAS
Oh, really?
team didn't even know what was going on because our facilities team was on top of it. Matt Oliver was here the night before,
Yeah.
called Tina over like in the middle of
10 o'clock at night.
10 o'clock at
Not
night.
all, we're
It was
like,
yeah.
is the building on fire?
They were all on top of it, and like NEAS didn't even know. But and then they gave her a shout. They gave him a shout out. Like the team, it's all everybody together, and that's just so good to see. And like NEAS saw that though, but you know, after the fact, they were like,
Oh,
wait.
I was like, listen, I'm sorry, we got this issue, and they're like, what for the runner in high school? Like,
That's
yeah, thank you.
But yeah, it just showed how you could roll with it, and yeah, how great it is. Cool. Yeah, Tina wasn't going to share that story, but I will. All right, thank you, Tina, so much. All right, who would like to go next? Oh, you have a question for Tina?
Yeah, man, it's too late.
Oh,
What's the matter?
What's the
What
question?
can I
What's
do
the
for you?
question?
I'm still here.
yeah.
You're still here.
I'm
Yeah.
still here. What can I do for you?
I want to know, how's the cell phone situation going on
Oh,
in the
yeah,
school?
that's a good question.
All right?
So I really went anticipating, and I'm part of a bunch of principals groups. We anticipated the worst.
Mhm.
I mean, we brought in a mental health clinician to talk to the staff, anticipating anxiety. It's been amazing. I don't know how Leb's doing it. I've talked to other principals. It's, you know, you have the hiccups. You know, we've had the same kid in 2 days take out his phone, and over breaks it's harder, like when you've been out for a few days. But overall, you know, Craig gets to see the other side of it because now they don't have cell phones, so now they're trying to get on games on their computer, which he loves, by the way. But really, overall, it has gone way better than I anticipated. Even drama happening, like somebody snapping me and they're running up to our office, and like Snapchat problems, and really all of it's really been reduced. We've saw things like kids interacting and having a conversation at lunchtime. It's really been awesome.
Look at all the board games that are over there.
Yeah, so
You
we
know.
brought in board games, card games, you know, those type of things, kids just sitting reading. And Abby can have a different perspective as a student perspective.
Yeah.
Is it sometimes a battle? When a student, you know, it's truly an addiction, and you know, there'll be a kid, I just had an issue today, a kid just whipped out his phone, like checking a text message. And we're like, email the parent, deal with it. But overall, it's really been much better than I anticipated. And I think for the students, you'd have to ask Abby. I think in a lot of ways, it's been sort of a weight off of them. You know, we still have the kids that try to congregate in the bathroom and be on their cell phone, and you know, that's realistic. But overall, I'm just absolutely impressed. And across the state, when I talk to principals and I've read articles online, it's been highly successful across the state.
Abby, do you have anything, not to put you on the spot, anything to add to that, or?
Not really.
All right.
It's not as bad as you think it is.
All right, good to know. Cool.
Wish we did it like 5 years ago.
Yeah, right.
It took teeth though of the law and your policy.
Yeah.
It took that,
Yeah.
and you know, now we say it's the law.
Yeah.
They're like, so what? I'm like, you gonna risk it? No, we're not gonna. But this is the policy, and these are the steps. It's
Yeah, but
teenager.
Matt's right over there.
I just remember when Cajun one time he answered his phone and I was like, what are you doing? Like, I was leaving you a message for when you got out of school. Why are you answering your phone right now?
Yeah, I had the same question.
Like, I just am
previous
like,
years.
I'm leaving you a message so when you get out, you know what's happening.
Right.
We always got, my mom's calling me now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no.
know.
Mhm.
She's out of here. Adios, have a nice trip.
All right, cool. All right.
It's an hour and 10 rooster.
Hour 10.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you,
you're right
Tina.
by my
Thanks,
house
Tina.
every day.
Okay,
All
you
right.
have a great night, everyone.
Lead on the horn. All right, who would like to go next?
No, leave the horn alone. It's the horn.
I can go, yeah. I'm not gonna stand up with my back.
That's fine. That's
So,
fine.
I'm just gonna,
Check.
so, I haven't done this before, so you just bear with me.
It's
here.
okay.
We had a great first quarter. We're really kind of working on a couple of different things. So you can see that we have our 2 school goals right in front of you. And the first really is to work on implementation of high quality curriculum and teaching and learning practices. So in order to do that, we're really focusing on those 4 PLC questions. So those are, what do we want our kids to know and be able to do? How will we know when they know it? What will we do if they already know it? And what will we do if they don't know it? So in that structure, we really start looking at our tier 1 practices. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the testing scores. But that's kind of what we're doing when it comes to that first goal. Our second goal is really around self-regulation, conflict prevention, and restoration of relationships after conflict. So the work that we are doing to support that is to bring in an intentional advisory program. I believe there was an advisory program at the middle school before, but it was not, it wasn't intentionally planned, and I think sometimes those things turned into study halls and that kind of a process. So we're really trying to be intentional with what we put out at this point. So I didn't actually plan it into the schedule right away, which was a shock to a lot of the staff members. And I said, the one thing that we don't want to do is actually make advisory a bad word, right? So it's like when you're training your dog and you like burn the word. I don't want to burn the word.
Yeah.
So we are using our leadership team time to really plan out what that advisory is going to look like, knowing that we really want to work on self-regulation, conflict prevention, and restoration. And so right now we are looking at curriculum products to help support that. One of those products is Wayfinder. We have a gentleman coming out on the 24th to kind of present the team with what that curriculum product might look like. We have done some exploration into a product called Changing Perspectives, and the other is called Core Project. And so those are the three products that we're actually looking at now. We hope to have move this along quickly and get into EIC shortly so that we can have an approved product. That being said, a product is not a curriculum. So curriculum is the practices and all of the pieces that go along with that in conjunction with the product that you have. And so we are really looking at how we would shape those products to match what we have here in Mascoma. So we may not use all of the pieces, and we may supplement other pieces. So we're really looking at and trying to be cognizant of one, the cost of these products and the continuity, because we don't want to purchase something in a year, get used to it, and then find that it's gotten too expensive for us to continue. So sustainability is really important to us. We also really want to make sure that whatever it is that we are doing matches our core values. So we are actively searching and seeking in that program piece. And then, let's see, our scores, I provided you with the spring to spring MVRSD score, so spring of 24 to spring of 25. And basically what our scores tell me as a principal when I look at these pieces is that we have a couple of things that we need to look at. One is that we really need to work on our transitions into the middle school. A lot of the research that we have supports that whenever you have a transition from school to school, you see kind of a slump. And we could do better with those kinds of transitions. So that will be the next thing that the leadership team is going to tackle, that transition piece. So the next thing that we're going to do is looking at tightening up our Tier 1 instructional practices, because the scores to me say we have not necessarily a huge intervention problem, but a larger Tier 1 instructional problem. And so what that means is we need to, as a building, look at our practices and tighten up those practices, make sure that whatever we are using is aligned to our focus standards, so that we are really making sure that we are hitting all of those pieces that you have to know in a specific grade level. So that means coming back, looking at our Mascoma standards, looking at then some particular focus standards that we really need to hammer home for kids in a particular grade level, right? So we're talking about that, what do we want our kids to know and be able to do? And we've laid that out with Mascoma standards. The next step is to really narrow that down a little bit and say these are the most important things. If you were going to get something in this grade level, it is these things. And then from there, we then start looking at Well, how will we know when they know that? Right, so we start really looking at the assessment practices that we have, making sure that there's alignment between the assessments. And then in the bigger picture, we look at how our assessments in our classroom assessments, our school assessments, align back up with our NWEA and our SAT scores. So your SAT scores really are measuring what we have in a particular grade level, right? So these are the things you should know. If you are a student who's coming in at a 5th grade level into 8th grade, right, you should still have access to those 8th grade level standards. We are going to work on the build up to that, the scaffolding to access that curriculum, to make sure that all students have access to that. And we're going to look at those intervention practices during our win times that are going to build those foundational skills up so that our students don't need that scaffolding anymore. So that's kind of how you level those pieces out. And your assessment scores should be similar across the board. There shouldn't be a very large difference. Kids shouldn't be getting all A's and then not doing super well, or doing really well and not doing well in classes. So there should be some similarities across those. So we'll be working on making our interventions more intentional through our win block, and then making sure that we are really looking at our teacher practices and going through that reflection of, you know, is this working? And how quickly can we catch things if they are not working? Utilizing the SST system and really making sure that we have a handle on those things. This is a really long process. And so to go through all of these steps and make sure that we are really making gains is going to be a multi-year process. We are right now an ATSI school. I am really hopeful that we will get out of that designation and not have to move to a CSI school. If we do end up moving into a CSI school status, then we will be doing this work that we are starting right now is basically the work that a CSI school would be doing anyway.
Can you explain real quick what the difference is between those two, or what they stand for?
Yeah,
sorry.
ATSI is Additional Targeted School Improvement, and then CSI is Comprehensive School Improvement.
Okay, so it's just like improvement plans.
Right,
Okay.
and the difference between the two is ATSI is district-led, and CSI is state-led, so you get a choice.
You want to have district-led, yeah.
Yeah, you have a choice in district-led, and
Yeah.
have no choice in
Yeah.
state-led. There are some benefits along with that too, right? You get some support, and you really have some motion around that. So not the worst case scenario, definitely not a school, a standard that I would love to have, or a designation I would love to have, but also we grow from these things, right? Like it's definitely a stepping off point. So call it like the scale, right? When you get on the scale, it's your starting point, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah, that's where we are. Yep.
So that will be in the work. So we're really working on making sure our win time is appropriate and applicable and intentional with students. So targeting those student interventions when we need to, but also really tightening up our tier 1 practices. And then we got the rest of it.
Yeah. Cool.
I want April to just follow up a little bit on the ATSI status. Would you talk about the cohort, please?
Which one?
Wait, I'll start and you jump in with the better information. So when you're designated CSI or ATSI by the state, it often has to do with a certain cohort. So our cohort that doesn't match, I don't want it to be thought of that the whole school is underperforming. It's one cohort that doesn't meet the standards.
So it's like a certain grade level.
It's special education.
Oh, okay, all right.
So we are really focusing on that.
Those kids, okay.
And looking at, their growth.
Gotcha.
And April has been working with Chris, working with Karen, working with Ryan. Karen's plan is great. It's going to bring up our scores overall. And if she is correct, it's going to take years. But we need to really focus on pulling out of the ATSI status And that really means focusing on our special ed kids and making sure that they're getting the skills that they need to be able to be successful on the SAS test. So we've really wrapped around that, looked at the scores, looked at the kids that are super close. You have to make 2 markers, April.
You either have to meet all 3 designations. There's technically 4, but we don't have a large enough English language learner population, so that one doesn't count against us. So the other 3 indicators, you have to either meet them all, that subgroup has to meet them all in 1 year, or they have to meet them twice in like 2 years. So
Okay.
And we've met them once,
Yep.
right? Am I correct? I
I
believe
think one of the indicators.
we met one of the indicators once. So if we meet one of the other indicators, or if we match all 3, you know, if we're able to meet all 3,
Yes.
this coming year, we should be in good shape. And I have faith that we can do that.
Thank
I mean, I've had lots of conversations about those 3 different pieces because we need to score high in equity, you need to have scores in achievement and have high scores in growth. Or not high scores, but you need to be higher than the
Right,
cut score.
right. Improving, yes.
And so when I looked at where we were in terms of where the cut score is, we are not far away from the cut score. Yeah, we're pretty close in most of our pieces. And I really had to dig to figure out what the difference between equity and growth was. And the equity score is the growth of your lowest achieving students.
Okay.
So
Get that
we're
Yep.
really working on making sure that we have that intentional intervention pieces in place.
And people get the ATSI designation for a variety of reasons. Some school districts, it is their students with disabilities. Some it's their free and reduced lunch population, which that's difficult to figure out because you're not supposed to know who has it. So we're happy that that's not our
I think that's
subgroup.
not one, right?
It can be different races, etc. So there are
Gotcha.
lots of different socioeconomic as well. So.
Well, thanks for that explanation. That makes a lot of sense. So.
It sounds like that's a lot of work, and I give you a lot of credit for doing all of that and like pursuing this. And I also think that it's important that we all remember that, you know, you don't want these kids to like hate school.
Right.
Yeah.
So also like considering like the things that people love about learning, including students. And I'm sure that you're doing that, but like these standardized tests, like it's so easy to like look at numbers and kind of have that like be all consuming, but then also to do all the other things, the arts and the
Yes.
positive interactions and learning about your emotions. I just think that all those things are really important. So
I think that's
Yeah.
where the advantage of your advisory block is.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
if you're able to instill those skills and understand that SEL portion of it, like you're able to really take the temperature down in the building.
Yes.
And be able to like really figure out like when kids aren't rolled back into a part of their brain which is flight or flight, you can figure out exactly what they need.
Right.
And so you need to bring them down in order to do that.
Yeah, and that's the whole purpose of doing that advisory and really that intentional piece. This cohort of kids, we still have a little bit of the pandemic piece. So our current 8th graders were in 3rd grade when they came back, and our so our 7th graders were in 2nd grade. Those are big years in terms of social development. So when you think about what they had to do, being 6 feet apart, like you're not hitting people when you're 6 feet apart, right? So some of those things where we learn how to not do and how to calm down, those kinds of things weren't necessarily the things they were learning that year. So it's kind of an important piece to remember that as we're going through this 5th grade class, I think, is the last group that's going through with any kind of a pandemic piece. But it is important to remember that social emotional piece is there. And then, yes, thank you for the well-rounded piece. Yes, we are also trying to make sure that we do some of those culture and climate builders with our schoolhouse clue games. Those actually really work on getting kids to collaborate together and work with not only the kids but the staff. So everybody kind of comes together for those pieces. Those are huge learning moments socially, and that was one of the bigger reasons why we brought those pieces on. And I'm a huge fan of like
learning should be joyful. And so really looking at our teacher practices and making sure that learning is joyful and not just sitting.
And having worked for Karen, you know, I can tell you she's phenomenal. She came in and did a lesson with me in my class when she was here, and
I totally forgot about
yeah, yeah, you did. I
Into
did.
math too.
It was awesome, you know. So she will be in the classrooms, and
Well, my nephew's in your school, and he is not a kid that historically will talk willingly. And I did not hear anything but about your clue thing going on, so
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, this kid, it's like
That's
pulling
engaged.
teeth to get any conversation out of him, and I couldn't shut him up.
You got hooked.
This is
Awesome.
fantastic.
Make me almost wish my kid was still in middle school.
Oh, I wish it all the time.
Almost. But thank you so much, Karen. That was great, and that was great for your first presentation. So, who would like to go next?
hope your back is better.
All right,
I
Megan.
have a kiddo that's been
Oh, that's
sitting in
true.
the car
Yeah.
for the last.
Oh, what? Oh my God.
He had practice, so we had to.
Oh, okay, okay.
Thank you.
Well, that's right. He's older now.
So, yeah. At the beginning of my newsletter, we have our 3 goals. First is our positive behavioral outcomes. We have a new kind of slogan this year, and we're adding it to our morning announcements so that we're saying it all the time, we're doing it all the time. And we've just put together this kindness initiative based on a book about being kind, and each class is trying to earn kindness deeds and words, and it's based the book is based on donuts. And so each class has to get 5 calories for 1 donut, and when every class gets a dozen donuts. It's all 12 classes, 144 acts of kindness. We are going to have a big all-school donut party. So
All right.
we're going to have some fun with that.
And when is the donut party?
When the school board will show up, check it out.
We are working.
Post
We'll
that.
let you know. We've been showcasing a lot, been trying to on Facebook, all of the great things we're doing, and using this fall we did a lot with pumpkins and out in the woods, and we're going to be doing some teacher features. We have some amazing staff, a lot of new incoming staff that parents might not know about, so we're going to be doing a lot of upcoming teacher features. I'm working on them right now, so hoping to have maybe like 1 or 2 out a week, just featuring some new staff along with some older staff that some parents might not know because they're either in the district or just haven't seen in a while.
Oh my God.
So we're trying to really increase all our good things that we're doing on a weekly basis on Facebook. And our last instructional strategies, we're doing, as you probably have all heard, we're doing the MTSS process with all the other schools. And so we're having, not only are we collaborating with Enfield quite a bit in the coming months to try to meld the 2 elementaries and our instructional strategies, but we're also having some in-house. We have an amazing staff that has a lot of knowledge, so why don't we use what we have? And so, like tomorrow, for instance, 2 of our staff members are giving a big presentation to all our paras based on prompting to progress and how to prompt kiddos with special needs to make progress and to help. So we're doing a lot of some of these instructional strategies within our own school building. I've included the report, the NEWE scores from spring to spring, like everybody else has. We've pretty much been staying kind of steady. We are starting to work, this is our 2nd year in our win block that we're doing, so we've kind of learned from having done it for a year, some things that we wanted to see change, so we're doing a lot more looking at data in our meetings. We're doing a lot more, we kind of revamped a little bit in our win periods, what we'd like to see, because last year being a trial run, we saw some holes where we wanted to, to make up. So we've done a lot of meetings based on, the kiddos and the groups and where we want to see the groups doing to help improve, our reading,
And in our math, we're trying, we're talking about, making it tighter as far as making sure we're going to be in the next coming months meeting with the previous grade levels to meet with it, because sometimes we don't always know where these kids are coming from. From third grade meeting with second grade, and fourth grade meeting with third grade teachers, and talking about where they teach and where they're coming from. So we'll be doing that coming up in the next few months. Again, community involvement. We're finished with our food drive. We got 550 items of food, so we're super excited. They tried so hard. They wanted me to be a turkey, and they just have to be one, even if we don't win. But we're still doing our senior center. Every group is going over senior center on Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock. We're having a big kind of Macy's Day, our own version of Macy's Day parade, where they're showcasing their learning, and we're inviting the community to come stand along the driveway at the end of the day, and they're going to go out and march and show what they've learned. For instance, kindergartners are finishing up all their letters and sounds, so they're going to be wearing some vests with letters on it. We have balloons going, so it's going to be a great community event. And we also did a Veterans Day, and we made over 150 cards for all 5 towns, veterans.
Oh, that's great.
Linda Landry, of course, did her amazing job of running that over there. So we have a lot of great things coming up, and looking forward to getting into the next phase.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Cool. Any questions for me? Thank you. I love the community involvement. There's always some grumpy person who's like, I don't ever see kids and stuff. And it's great to have a laundry list of be like, these kids are doing this and they're doing
and
this.
We're trying really hard this year. I really reached out to as many parents as I could. We probably have double the amount of volunteers that we had last year.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Because we're trying to get parents in to help with the classroom to be kind of like it used to be, where we had, classroom parents come in and do projects. We've had actually quite a few of those this year.
Good.
And joining them for field trips and things
All
like
right.
that. So,
Great.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Megan.
Well, the senior center appreciates the placemats and all that little
Yeah, we
things.
try to do something different every
Oh
time.
yeah,
That's awesome.
I
man.
sit there and have lunch, and they're asking me questions.
Good.
Yeah, they like to read to them. That seems to be
Yeah.
a big
They're
thing.
happy about
Yeah.
that.
Good. And it's so nice it's walkable right there.
Yeah, and we've had actually from that, we've had seniors come over to some of our PTA dinner nights. They
It's
come to
great.
the spaghetti dinner, they come, and so now we're having them kind of come up to see us.
It's working.
So,
Mhm.
It's working. Great.
Yep.
So I gotta go get all the time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Megan. All right.
Yes, it's my turn.
Jamie, go ahead.
I have included in there that we did not change our goals this year. We're sticking with what we've been working on. We're building and trying to be more specific on some of the things that we're doing. And in here, I just connected them to the strategic plan. So the focus areas that they address in the strategic plan, that's what that focus is. The NEWA data is in here for math and for reading. And I just, so that you guys understand, the top row at each grade level is the students and their percentage of how many points of increase that they had. So there's a projection for every student that takes the fall NEWA of how many points they expect that they're going to make throughout the year. So from spring to spring, they expect somewhere between 11 and 13 points of an increase. The red, so the top one there for math is grade 2. In the red, that 3% is one student who made, I think she made 4 points of growth, but in order to be in the next color, she would have had to make 5 points of growth. And she was supposed to have made 13 as her goal. So that's just sort of a descriptor of what that top row is. And then the second row for each grade level is where they were in 24, the percentages, or how many students, the percentage of each of students that were in each section, and then the 25. So you can see across there that we had some pretty great increases in a lot of cases. The fourth grade one looks a little unfortunate, and one of the things to think about there is that fourth graders are over-assessed in the spring, and so through EIC and through the work with the principals and work with Amanda, we're readjusting the assessment schedules for our students so that we don't have third and fourth graders or 5 through 8 either taking SAS, NEWA, Ainsworth,
Boom,
yeah,
boom, boom, boom,
all
boom,
in
yeah.
the same like 3-week period, right?
Yeah.
So all they do is text.
Being burned out.
And it's terrible, right? And it doesn't, this does not represent what our SAS data will look like.
Yeah, it's an outlier to the rest of the data.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so as an internal team, 3rd and 4th grade always has the SAS first because that's the one that's to the state and that's the one that gets reported out and like all the things. And so this is like the last thing that they do and nobody wants to take a test in June. So even though that looks not super great, when I get to the award that we just got, you'll notice that our 4th graders made a lot of progress and that's not really a good showing of where they were. We participated, staff members from IRS, CES, and EDF all participated in the MTSS work that Megan started to talk about. And that was really to talk about a multi-tissue system of support for Mascoma and what it looks like and why is it different in my building versus somebody else's building and how can we align. And we talked a lot about Tier 1 instructional practices. So what does it look like for the classroom when they're doing whole group instruction for all the kids in front of them and versus what does the small group wind block instruction look like and how they talk to each other and how do we make sure that kids are getting what they need. And so that works. We spent a lot of time. I think we had 10 meetings, 9 meetings
in the first 6 weeks of school.
All the work, we earned a grant from the Department of Ed, and we had to not just have the money paid out, but the work completed by September 30th. And I think we were notified July something that we had earned it. And so, of course, you have to have teachers on the team, and nobody's around in the summer, so who's going to do that, right? So we started like the last week of August, and we met a lot. It was a lot of hours. But it was really incredible to watch the staff from all 3 buildings sort of come together, and they came up with a really clear definition of what all the pieces are and how we're going to move forward. And we have hosted, actually here at the high school in November or late October. We had a full elementary school, both buildings staff meeting where we started the work together and brought both buildings together and had a conversation of what is MTSS, what do you think it means, what does it look like in your building, what things do you have available to you, and then we did a survey and we're meeting with the steering committee this week to sort of look at that stuff, and it's kind of incredible the difference of what people think we're doing and what we're actually doing, and how the work, like how it all connects. And so some of our work will be helping them understand what we're already doing as part of this process. So we'll have another staff meeting in December. We have another one scheduled for January, and we just are going to continue to put both buildings in the same room and have these conversations because I think it's really important that we build the understanding from the ground up in both buildings so it's the same. So there's no it's different over here than it is over there. We're trying to get rid of that. We had our fire safety day in October. It was incredible. All of our grade levels did their poster contests once again, and we had kids that won that rode on fire trucks to school. The community loves it. The fire department loves it. They were at school all day. I always feed them because they're dealing with munchkins all day long and they're not used to that, which is funny. They did lessons for every grade level, so they had kids come into the library and they put on their fire gear and they talked about safety and they talked about different things. And then the Touch a Truck event that we have on the playground during that time. And they, the AD club came over and brought the drones and we took some video and it was phenomenal. That was great. And then the best part is we were just named the 23rd best elementary school in the state of New Hampshire, which is pretty fantastic. That speaks to our SAS scores because the SAS scores are what sort of drives that. The better part of this is that we are tied for 2nd place in math proficiency for the state. So all elementary schools in the state of New Hampshire were 2nd place for math proficiency.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. That's so awesome.
So we're pretty excited about that. We are working really hard to pull up our reading scores. We looked back and in 2021, EBS was 61st in the state. And I think this is my 4th year here. I think this is the 3rd time we've been in the top, like 30.
That's awesome.
Since I think so.
What's the other school?
The other school that we're tied with?
Yeah.
Because I totally looked it up, you know I did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I cannot remember off the top. But I do remember thinking, oh, they're a really big school. I think it was like, I want to say it's like Londonderry, one of the Londonderry elementary schools, I think.
Down there.
And then the first, I forget who the first place school was, but it was interesting that, you know, my sister's a principal at Littleton, and she's got Title I, and she's got, you know, she's K-6, and she's got twice as many staff as we have, and like all the things, and we're above that too. And so it's like, it's not about what we have for resources, it's about our intentionality with our instruction, and it's about our focus on our intervention, and it's about being so intentional. We've talked a lot about, I've talked a lot to you guys about our win block. We started 3 years ago with, you're just gonna do it because I told you to, and this is the tool you're gonna use.
Right.
And then, you know, today I met with my kindergarten team. I'm mentoring a principal in another district, and he was doing a site visit, and he wanted to talk to them about implementation. And they just kept saying, like, we started to see the improvement. We started to see how great it is for our kids, and we started to see it change. And so now it's less about she's telling us and more about, oh, the data says we need to do this piece next, or we need to do this next. And it was really great to be in a staff meeting in my building early October, I think. And one of my first grade teachers, we do good news and kudos at the beginning of every meeting so that people can shout out other people. The first grade team shouted out kindergarten because the beginning of the year data for first grade in reading is higher than the end of year first grade data was last year.
Ooh, that's awesome.
So we're making moves.
Yeah.
We're tied for, I think it's 55th. No, we're tied for 81st place for reading proficiency, and we are at 55% proficient. And so the hope is that we can just move that needle.
Cool. All right. Any other questions?
Is there something that seemed like with like PD and development that would help in order for, because it sounds like, I mean, when you get teachers together to talk about like what MTSS is in general, is there anything that can be helpful in that aspect for you to like make that happen through PD? Like, is it more time? Is it a longer block? I know you guys have every month you have a half day essentially that you have for PD time. Would it be something to have like a more full day aspect in order to like, you know, talk with that or anything along those lines? Because having that consistency across buildings is important. And like, what would be able to be built upon that, I guess, would be my question.
It's a really great question.
And you don't have to give me an answer now, but
yeah, I'll have to think about it because it's a couple of things, right? Like, so one of the things is I am a former middle school math teacher. So when I took this job and I was like, oh gosh, look at those reading scores, I had to spend hours and hours and hours and hours of my life trying to understand how to teach reading because that's not what that's not what I know.
Yeah.
And so I've spent more hours than I probably should. You know, spending time with people that do know how to teach reading and going to conferences and learning about the science of reading and understanding what it means. And I think that has moved the dial for us. I think in our building, almost every teacher, I think I have 3 teachers that have not taken the letters training. And I think that's an expense, but it's also time consuming. So the teachers that have done that, it's 18 months. When they start that program and they do that work, it's 18 months of work that they have to do. And I'm just not sure that the understanding of implementing those strategies that they learn in the literature, I don't know that that is global yet in the district. And so time to do that, money to do that would probably be a help. But as far as getting the 2 buildings aligned, I think we're going as fast as we feel people can handle right now. So I think moving to, it might look different for next year. I think for this year, we're going just as fast as we feel like people have the capacity to move. Does that make sense?
that does. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Anything else, Jim? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Who would like to go next?
April, because she's the last lady on this panel. These two guys can wait.
No, I live the closest.
She's got the, yeah.
Frank lives 3 minutes.
It's literally 2.5 minutes from here to my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you can
So-
walk here?
Yeah.
I could, but I don't walk
You
on Route 4
didn't? Because all the
people
parking
drive
spots are
crazy.
busy.
Yeah.
So, you guys,
Whichever one, Chris.
whatever's going on.
Chris, go ahead.
I'll go.
Go ahead, Chris.
So we're up and running. We had a great first quarter. I want to start with staffing. Coming out of the summer, we had a couple of really key positions that we weren't sure whether we were going to be able to fill them or not. And Jamie and I and April and all of us, we had a plan B because we just didn't want to fill a position, to put a body in a position with a key position. So we were ready to go without an elementary special ed coordinator, and we had a plan B to make that work. But sometime middle of August, late August, I got a phone call from a colleague that I used to work with like 12 years ago in a different district, and he called me up and he said, "Do you still need an elementary coordinator?" And
Just fell out of the sky,
it was
right?
like the unicorn fell out of the sky. And I was like, yes. And so that was on a Thursday. He interviewed on Friday. We had his paperwork and everything in on Monday. It was that fast.
Nice.
And
He's been
he's just been a great ad. He has been an absolute great ad for us. So I think the lesson there for us is not to feel the pressure to fill a position with just a person to sort of fill the position. And I think that we've really come out the other side of that. The other big thing for us in terms of staffing, high school staff, special ed staff, extremely strong this year. Middle school staff, special ed staff, extremely strong. EBS, that staff has been strong for a number of years. The one position that we have not been able to fill is one CES case manager. So we sort of got to the point with that where we decided that at this point, we're not going to probably be able to fill that. We don't want to go a remote case manager route again. We tried that and it did not go well here at the high school or the middle school.
Yeah.
So we just rotated that and used that and sort of brought in another para to help support some of the things happening over at CBS. So that's the first thing. We were able to dodge a bullet with an SLP that was third week in August who said, "I'm not coming back." And if anybody knows, an SLP, you can't find them anywhere. And luckily our contractor, Boothby, was able to work with us. We found a solution. So just across the board in general, we feel really good about our special ed staff across the district this year. They're doing an amazing job. Heather Abbey is in her first year over at CDS doing pre-K coordinator position, and the early interventions that she is doing across the district, working with both pre-K teachers. So we feel really good about what's happening there. We feel really good about all of our related services, school psychology, OT, speech across the board. So we feel really good about all of the things that are happening across the district right now with special ed. The NEASC report is going to speak really highly about the way that we're providing, services here at the high school level. So we're doing really well. I think the one thing that all the buildings do really well is, I would say very strongly that all of our identified kids feel like they belong. Every building works really hard to not just have kids be students, but our kids feel like they belong to a school community. And that goes head and shoulders above everything else. So you even walk into IRS this year, there's a different feeling within that building for the work that Karen has already done since September. A couple of ads with special ed staff here and there. And just, again, just the work that the principals are doing, just making kids feel like they belong to something bigger than themselves. I can't say enough about that. So a couple of the challenges. Transportation continues to be a challenge, but we all chip in. If Butler's having a hard time making a run, if we, you know, any given day, you know, the phone could ring and we're in a spot, and I may have to go out and do the Spalding run, or go to, that's just what we do here in Mascoma. And I think we've just sort of all come to realize that there are certain things we all have to do to pitch in, you know, every now and again. So we do that. And then just, you know, the other challenges is, you know, certainly trying to find, you know, enough paras to work in key programs that are, you know, working with some really difficult kids. So I have one program where feels like we're constantly struggling to, you know, bring in a resource. And hopefully I have another resource coming in tomorrow. We'll be on the other side of that. But, you know, long story short, I feel really good about where we are with what we're doing in special ed right now at the end of the first quarter. Questions?
Cool. Yeah. Any questions for Chris?
I apologize, maybe you've touched on this in the past and I missed it. What is the status of the audit that we were doing?
Oh yeah.
So we did that. We did that last year, and we did that with we went through EIC with that, and then we met. I forget when it was. It was either in the spring when the audit was done, and we can certainly go back through EIC again if.
I'm on that committee. I had traveled a lot in the spring, so I probably missed it. I was just curious if.
Yeah, that audit was completed by, was it NES?
NSDEC did a preliminary audit, yeah.
NSDEC did the audit, and yeah, it was fine. I feel good about, just in terms of like budget, when I compare what we do budgetarily wise compared to other districts around here or even in our region, we are very, very mindful of, you look at any of our out-of-district numbers, our out-of-district numbers are really significantly low compared to like other places. And I think that's because our staff go above and beyond, and sometimes we have to sort of peel them away and say, I think we might be at the place where we have to look at something different. But anyway, the audit was done, and
yeah, I just didn't know if it had been completed because I remember when we brought it up the first time, there wasn't like a specific area of concern. It was kind of a due diligence, like, oh, we should probably do that. And so like I said, I'm sure I missed the meeting where you said it was completed, and it just occurred to me while you were giving your report.
I think when we went through it with, I think Hope was there.
Yeah.
At that, Hope was still, and so
Oh,
we
okay.
went through the results of the audit with, you know, in that.
Oh, yeah.
If we could have that forwarded to us, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
And Dawn, we'll revisit it, not at the next upcoming meeting, which is Thursday, but for the December.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I may have them add, because what it did is it looked at the past, I forget what it was, it maybe looked at the past 4 or 5 years, so I can give them a call back and say, let's add on this next year, so then we have a longer, yeah, we can do that.
Cool, thank you.
It's because you're doing too good a job, and everybody in the whole state knows that Mascoma does a great job with special ed. So that was brought up in many different districts a long time ago. Being on this board, I know, because we've heard it from other districts. Mascoma.
We hear it from Dartmouth a lot.
That's good.
So
That's good.
just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right.
Another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So you feeling strong with your staff that you have here already. Is there anything in particular that you're going to focus on where you have, you know, now you have people that are in areas of focus? Like, how are you going to expand on that?
So one of my dreams would be to have a life skills program here at the high school.
Okay.
And I have, Amanda and I, we have brainstormed this for several years now, and it becomes a resource. It becomes my ability to, it's not that I don't think we can't meet the kids' needs here. Like, I may have one kid that I can bring back from an out-of-district placement if I had if I had a life skills program here.
Right, exactly.
But I can't source it, I can't staff it, I can't hire for it, I can't provide the correct number of paras for it, I can't, you know, maybe a particular kid that might be able to come back, I can't bring them back because they use a Hoyer lift, and I don't have a Hoyer lift here, right? So there's all sorts of, but if I was able to get a life skills program going here in the next couple of years, it opens up so many possibilities of what we'd be able to do. We could do unified sports here, because right now, our high school kids that we can't provide that life skills program experience for, they go to the RRC, they go over to Hartford, they go to the Resource Center over there, which is a great program. Which I have no problems about it, but
it'd be nice to have it right here.
It'd be nice to have it here and have these kids be part of the community.
Right, exactly.
Be part of the school community.
That's a big chunk to like, that's a big program to like launch.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
There's a lot involved in the state.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said there's a lot involved with the state when you start to put a separate program together. Okay, that answered my question.
All right, anything else, Chris? All right,
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, which one of you would like to go next?
There you go.
All right, Craig, take it away.
So there I was.
Thanks, Craig.
There I was. Last Friday, 2:30, I get an anomalous report from one of our access points at the Canaan Elementary School. Friday at 2:30, like, seriously, you want to check out, go home, right?
Yeah.
So I log in, I run a script, man, I get 1,000 responses. I can't go through all this. So I call up Gemini, I use our AI tool. I said, Gemini, tell me the top 3 anomalies in this access point and what's going on. Spits me back some stuff. I'm learning how to prompt, right? It's a big thing with AI prompting. I get my results, somewhat suspect, you know, I don't know everything. I don't know everything AI knows. So I iterate, right? Iterate, ask the question again. I get a theme going though, so that's accurate. That there's something that I need to look at. So it's 3:30, it's raining sideways, it's cold, my wife has a cold, it's yucky. I gotta go home. I said, I'll finish this at home. So I'm at home, I call it up, I'm loading on a wireless, go to the access point, go to the errors, it's gone. So psychologists, I think they say after Friday at 1 p.m., don't make any decisions and don't do anything. So I'm sitting there going, what did I do? Or what did AI do? I'm sitting there stressed and like, God, gotta be careful with this stuff. Just can't keep throwing stuff around like that. But then I thought, on the human side, what goes on at CES between 2:30 and 3:30 every day?
They're all getting out.
The cars are all coming
through.
So the wireless is picking up all
Ping,
the hotspots.
ping,
All the phone, all the car hotspots, wireless.
Yep. Every car is a hotspot.
Yeah, I see Toyota, Honda.
Yep. Ping, ping,
And
ping.
so, but to find that out, I had to do kind of a history search, and that's kind of what it was. So, again, my point there is AI, it's out there, it's everywhere, and we're using it, everybody's using it. I just come back from a Cyber Summit 2 weeks ago, and I just come back from 2 days of Chris McAuliffe, and the 2 themes, AI is everywhere, and so is ransomware.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 big things that dominated the conferences, at least from the tech side at the CMTC. But there were a couple highlights that I'd like to share with you that I got out. You, Abigail?
A little bit, yeah.
You want to read a sentence? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't mind. Let me see if I can find it.
Good luck to you, kid.
It'll be your first time working with me to get this.
I know, it's so interactive, I love it.
Where is it?
Listen, the side of the theater doesn't know what's happening.
No.
Oh, right here. Okay. So,
He never learned not to put that to the audience.
AI in 2024, students and staff are using it more as information generation. in 2025, you read that in bold? What is
Number I'm using 2025 is therapy and companionship. for-
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to talk about that.
So,
Yeah.
here's where we're at.
Man.
Has anybody here ever done a little bit of a therapy session with AI?
No.
Or a
Absolutely
conversation?
not.
Or have a conversation?
No. I think you have a lot of creative people in here who use it very guardedly. I'm a creative person and I'm absolutely not using it.
And that's good, but students,
Yeah.
it has become their companion.
I have seen some stats that are mind blowing.
And there's some bad
stats.
bad AI companions out there.
That's really scary.
There's some good stuff. So that was kind of an eye-opening thing for me today, just in one of the sessions. Okay, you don't mind reading something with you?
Sure.
Real quick. So I did have to sit in on some teacher stuff, because it's a big conference, and not everything was cyber. So I go to some teaching things.
Should have kept the rest of the staff.
3 buckets of teaching with AI.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 buckets of teaching with AI. Ask, what is our foundational understanding? Integrate AI with core initiatives, prioritize digital citizenship more than you ever have.
Yeah. And so those were, is that mine, or is that you?
That's yours.
So those were some of the 3 biggie takeaways from a couple of those conference sessions. Really good.
Just, excuse me,
Yeah.
just one of the ones you went with Amanda with?
Nana wasn't there. We missed her. They paged her overhead, but they couldn't hear it. It was not here.
Okay.
So, yesterday was actually, it was quiet yesterday. Today was rocking. Today was a good day. It was a busy day.
No, it was Chris Page anymore.
Yes, Chris and I went to a special ed.
All right.
The biggest thing when it comes to ransomware, right, because it isn't like, we'll be lucky to be unscathed at some point, but it's our preparedness. And when you sit in all these sessions, it's about protection and preparedness. And the better prepared we are. So at the Cyber Summit, it was really kind of cool in that they had people from the insurance company, people from the bigger cyber companies that, coordinate with London's and Lloyd, they were called BC, they were there. And lawyers were there, and Primex was there. And the number one thing that they all were saying is be prepared. So when they show up, when we call in a cyber event, and they have to come on site, and meet with me probably first, and then the rest of us admins and teams, is being prepared, answering questions, being able to answer questions. They shut everything off. How are you going to run school? How are you going to feed kids? Those kind of things. So that's super important. On the protection side, I think we're doing all we can. And I think we're doing a really good job. And one of the documents that I adopted either 3 or 4 years ago, and it's still handed it out, it's still quite active. And it's from the insurance companies. So you kind of look at, since they're protecting us, since we're going to be utilizing their resources through them, I do want to actually sidebar just real quick. One of the trends the cyber insurance companies now are handling after a ransomware event is that it goes into lawsuit litigation where schools are now being sued for negligence. Okay, so, and he's an insurance guy up there making a couple jokes like, our premiums go up. He goes, well, now you just added another section of litigation.
Who's suing the school districts? Is it like parents, or is it insurance companies, or
Yeah, because so the concern, the high concern is privacy is lost.
Right. Yeah.
So you can litigate that, and so that's kind of one of the trends. That's a trend of the last year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's going on right
Around those litigation.
now. But there are the top 10 cyber recommendations, and we're doing all of them, and we're doing the one of them come April, which is moving to a .gov domain.
Okay.
That's going to secure us with, which would prevent us from spoofing.
Yeah.
In large part. So we will be moving from our .org to a .gov, ideally. I think Amanda will anoint it. That's an area where we gotta move to. Our biggest area isn't going to be so much ransomware, it's business email compromise. This is where they're getting in. This is where they're getting in. All these fish and stuff that comes through. I've done about 50 to 80 fishing simulations this year.
You've gone fishing?
Yeah, going
that
fishing.
many times, huh?
And I think I even said it at these meetings and other meetings, like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 100, we've always fallen in the 21% range, which is like great. Like I brag about it at conferences, like, what do we need to do? Why do we send those? How good we're doing. After this quarter, we're in the 53%. We're in high risk.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know what's going on. If there's more of it, you know, which I think there is. One of the things we're doing is I send out a cyber awareness training every week, an email with just some tips and tricks to watch out for.
Those are the scam of the week ones.
What's that?
Those are the scam of the
Scam of the weeks. Plus, I need I have them randomize them and then send them out, and then I go read the scores. Right now, I just started tabulating. We did for the first time a culture survey. And I got those results right now. I haven't looked at them yet. So that we open that window for 30 or 40 days so we can get a good baseline. And then decide where we want to go from here. You know, increase the training or not. So that's kind of where we're at on that end. Business email compromise is probably our number one concern. Our number one vector.
A human vector.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, and we are, our goal is to hope that we can all become the human cyber defenders, right? And get better at it. That'll be our number one concern at the conference, the cyber conference. That's what it said. You're gonna probably get hit with this before you're gonna get hit with a ransomware.
Yeah.
These business email compromises. Not only with the top 10 things that we're going to protect us here, one of the great things we're doing, and I was kind of talking about it today, or more yesterday than today, is we do have an AI policy. So that's very helpful in terms of protection. We do have data governance plan. We do app vetting, third-party vendors, which is another high area. So just those three things alone, we have a plan to protect us. So I mean, I think at the end of the day, we're doing a lot of what all we can do to really protect us. The human element is key. We got to get it right. We got to keep working on it. We got to keep taking phishing simulation tests.
You just like my emails, don't you, though?
They're pretty good.
I write in emails all the
Yeah.
time. Is this phishing?
But you bring up a good point right there. Although the phishing scores have gone up, I've had more people now do that.
That's good.
Come see me.
Good.
Bring their computers to me more than ever.
That's good.
So there is an awareness that is building, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
And you're always so positive. He says, "Good job."
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be worse if you just be like, you know, just like,
Yeah.
I'm an
yeah,
over-reporter, if anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can still
Yeah, I got the same.
Well, you just brought up an interesting point there too. So in 5 days, we had 7,000 emails come through the district, and only 1,000 were marked as phishing. Now you can look at that two ways. Maybe we just delete the other ones that are so good, we just delete them. But we do need to train our systems to better detect, so it's important. And more people are. I saw one today where like 25 people marked, I think you were on one, marked it. Marked it as phishing. So now we can train our system, and those kind of emails come in. So
And they're very sophisticated. Like I get them all the time at my job that looks like an invoice that's completely legitimate from a vendor that I would expect. And
that's the number one way to get your
it's very sophisticated how they come through.
Yeah.
It is. So I'll kind of end with that. We kind of gone through this kind of thing in a kind of a
roundabout way.
But unless there's any further questions on this, on the report.
No, any questions for Craig? On anything?
It's a great performance. No.
Yeah, Kathleen, go
I'm
ahead.
so interactive, love it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kathleen.
So, I know you're on a schedule when you do the upgrades for the devices and everything like that, but isn't that the key, is to keep ahead of your devices so that you're not opening the door where a smarter device would prevent you?
Always updating, yes, patching. They recommend a 30, 60, 90 day thing. I try to patch every 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, I thought so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I try not to let it go. Sometimes you be a little careful because patches that come out break stuff.
Yeah.
You probably won't, you don't want to be the first in line.
Right, let other people break their things.
Right,
Yeah.
and they start ready, don't be that one way, hold on. And
Yeah, wait a week or so.
Right, so sent out a patch, oh no, they sent out a version update to the patch. Like,
Patch,
okay,
yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
we try to be as.
And all that takes a lot of time.
Yeah. So,
Cool. Anything else for Craig?
thank you for the participants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. All right.
All right.
April, all you.
Tina might actually beat me home tonight. I
I
texted her, I'm like, are you home? She's like 20 minutes out. I'm like, still waiting in line.
waiting.
I'll still be there.
All right, take it away.
But perfect. Our grants, we still use our Title I or Title grants. So we use Title I, Title II, Title IV, Title V grants. We use them for a variety of things, mostly to enhance our professional development, to strengthen sort of the systems that we already have in place. We did apply, as the other principals mentioned, this summer for the HQIM grant that the state was giving out, and that was for highly qualified instructional materials. So we partnered with Demonstrated Success when we found out towards the end of July that we had received the grant. We received it for Canaan Elementary School, Indian River School, and Enfield Village School. And so we reached out to Demonstrated Success, and they partnered with us and went, oh, you guys get quite a bit of money, but we have a short window of time. So it was actually 3 women from Demonstrated Success that came and met with us for those 9 days in the first 6 weeks of school. They were phenomenal. They still respond to our email questions. They really put us on a good path. And it was amazing to see the elementary schools come together and see it as they are our kids. It was also very helpful for Karen to say, I need them to come at the same level. I don't want my teachers to be able to say, this kid went to this school or this kid went to that school, right? Like she wants them to all be at the same level, which is amazing. So we are continuing that work. We have lots of meetings planned throughout the year. Still into our curriculum review cycle. I've met with ELA and social studies already. Science is one that we're struggling to get people on the committee, but we're working on it. We've got math meeting next week as well. But we have 8 teachers in the soft rollout of arts and letters, and I presented that to you guys at the last meeting I was at, so it's going well. Science, once I can get the committee to come back together, we're going to be looking at our spring stat scores and how the elementary schools can help strengthen their science so that it helps strengthen 5th grade science, and then 5th and 6th and 7th, and strengthening 8th, and so on. I did include the historical data from 2021-2022 school year through the spring of 24-25. You will notice that our biggest area of concern right now is in the middle school, and we're working with Karen and Brian and the team there to really strengthen that. There was some growth in 7th grade, even though it's still not great. That was last year's 7th grade was the year before 6th grade that was at 18% proficient, and they moved up to 34% proficient. So yes, it's still below the state requirement, but they made a lot of
double.
Yeah,
that's
really
right.
good growth, so that's very
huge.
positive.
Exactly. As I think I put in the report, that the green indicates that they're at or above proficient. Yellow is they're within 3 to 6 percentages away from proficient, and then red is 7 or more percent away. So we are looking there. The high school met the English and math and beat the state tied the state in ELA, and then beat it in math. So I attribute that to the work that Tina and the teachers here are doing with their win blocks and their flex period and their SAT prep that they are doing. So they're really working hard to improve our scores. That's sort of what I have for you in a nutshell, short and sweet.
All right. Any questions for April? Got a list now. No, it's just interesting to see blocks, cohorts of kids moving through, you can see that pandemic ripple effect. And I know that like, and you can see like ways that we're addressing it, and it just is gonna follow them, and there's just, you know, we're working at it and we're chipping away at it. And it is good to see that kids after that are not having that same effect. So that part is good, but we are addressing it, like those blocks are improving every time as they go through, but you can still see that, you know what I mean? But there's everybody's got that, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Right, and I think, you know, the addition of every building now has WIN is huge.
Yeah.
Last year we implemented the interim and, just lost it. Interim and benchmarking stuff that the state provides for practice testing for the staff. So we'll be working with the staff again to make sure that they are, you know, using those interim and modular tests from the state for practice.
So I just want to point out, so on your charts that you have here, and you tell me if I'm reading this totally wrong. So you have the first chart, you show NHSAS and SATs for 21 to 22. Your grade 8 there, you have all red across, 38, 46, 27, 33. You follow those kids in 8th grade at that year, 21, 22. You plotted out, those kids are the kids in grade 11 on the 24, 25, correct? Because if they're in 8th grade in 21, 22, 9, 10, 11. So those kids now, 66, 66. So you see the scores have improved like that much. So like it's working as they get up there. So like there's a gap where we don't see them, but then for them to pop up like that high is like really cool. So it works. It's good.
And it sounds like the science is a concern for the elementary school.
Yes.
So I know that you said that you need a committee to sort of focus on it, but what's your thinking around like how you're gonna have teachers do more science in the classes?
So one of the things that we looked at last year was when the committee forms was that everybody kind of taught it at like different lengths of time. So we've streamlined that between the elementary schools, because like some grade levels are like, well, I do it on, you know, the odd weeks of the, it was kind of like they just did it when they could.
Yeah.
And so we've got a better streamlined plan because the focus at elementary school is ELA and math. It's hard to fit it all in.
I see that with my kids. They don't talk a lot about learning about science.
And so what we did was social studies was in the first quarter, and then second quarter is a focus on science, and then third quarter goes back to social studies, and then fourth quarter will go back to science. So it was at least consistent by grade level that way, and in both buildings we're doing it, and hoping that by having it fourth quarter at the elementary schools, that gives them a little bit more science before they go to 5th grade and have to take the SAS test. So we're working on it, and I think with arts and letters, having that integrate a lot of social studies and science, we will see it in increases.
That's what I was gonna say, that seems very foundational with like learning about the trees changing color and like you're giving them science while they're reading.
Right. We just have to come at it in a different way, because there's just not the same way as at the middle school where it's like this period you have math and this period you have English, right? Like we have to embed it a little bit better.
I also want to say, just to call out to the board to take a look at the last page of her report. You have the curriculum review cycle in a very pretty chart. I love this chart. This is awesome. Like this is just like a CIP where you plot out year by year, and you're like, we're going to go review this, and it goes down the line, and then by the time like we've got through the end of that cycle, it's time for that to go back to step one, to start looking at it again, and like how do we, did it work? What do we need to do? I love this, because that way all of our subjects and stuff can have full alignment, and they're getting checked, and nothing's falling through the cracks. So I love it. Thank you. Anything else for April? Cool. All right.
Tell Tina not to text and drive.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's try and get home before Tina. All right. Go.
You want to text her back, make sure she's texting me on
Hey,
voice.
her vehicle's like my vehicle. You just
I know.
voice
Just send that to her. Tell her I'd like to make sure you are not texting it.
I will let her know.
All right.
All right. Next on our agenda for new business, if the board's okay with that, we can table abutting property easement requests, because we don't really have anything for them to request at this point. We have no site plans or anything like that, so we can table that.
The only thing they want to do is they want to, all right.
Yeah, they just want to know.
They want to know about access, but they also want to know, because we did discuss about if they did get access, it was for commercial vehicles with that access.
Yep.
It wasn't for the residential. one,
Right.
'cause some of the board members asked about questions about that.
Yep.
And we haven't even gotten into the preliminary thing about, who's gonna, are they gonna pay for the paving, or, all that stuff, so that's,
It would be a nice way to get that.
that's all that stuff, so
Yeah, we'll get to that. Well, I'm sure this won't be the last thing we hear about that.
no,
So.
just that they asked questions tonight, that's why I figured you'd better let them know that already.
All right. All right, so I'll make a motion for second reading and adoption, policy BEDG, meeting minutes, policy BBAA, school board member authority, policy BBBC, board member or district officer resignation, and policy BGAA, policy development, adoption, and review. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, whichever one you heard first count. All right.
His name's shorter.
All right, any questions, comments? Any questions, comments, concerns on any of these? BEDG meeting minutes? Anybody with those? BBAA, school board member authority? We didn't make any changes since the last time.
We didn't make any changes,
Nope.
there was just the BGAA, Tim, you had picked up an error with work group.
Yes.
Instead of committee, so
Yep.
we'll make sure that was changed.
Yep. Yep. All right. BBBC, board member or district officer resignation. Anyone questions on that? A lot of legal stuff there. Policy BGAA, policy development, adoption review. Any questions on that?
I like policy without policies.
Yeah. All right. All those in favor of second reading and adoption of policy BEDG, BBAA, BBBC, and BGAA signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstentions. All right. We have some agenda items for the next meeting, which will be the regular December meeting, not the one on December 1st with the budget committee. So this is a regular December meeting, which will be the second Tuesday in. And I believe that will be our only December meeting, correct? That's what we are planning, because that other one will be the 23rd, and I don't think anyone wants to do that.
No, thank you.
So we will plan on getting all of our stuff done on the 9th. So let's do that. Public comment. Hello.
I have a comment.
Yes.
So it was really nice. I went to the play for the Great Expectations.
Oh, good.
And it was nice to see that in the program, on the back of the program, the students made the effort to thank the board for their support.
Oh.
And I don't recall ever seeing that before.
That's true.
And they were listing other patrons and sponsors and stuff like that.
I will pass that
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
They are very appreciative of their support.
I did see you from across the way.
Yeah, I saw you
Yes.
too.
They did a nice job. They did a lot of
They
fun.
did.
They had a lot of fun. So.
That Adeline, she was spot on.
Yeah.
She did
She
really well.
surprised me. All right, we have a green sheet here for personnel resignations and nominations. If someone would like to make a motion on that.
I make a motion to accept the resignations.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Any discussion on that? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Abstentions? And it looks like we do have non-public. Correct, Amanda, for...
So we do have it for the purpose of hiring and also for the purpose, so section B, hiring, and section A, the dismissal, promotion, compensation, disciplining, or investigation of changes of a public employee.
There we go, A and B.
Make a motion going non-public.
Okay.
Second.
All right, there's a second. All right, Joe?
Yes.
Brewster?
Yes.
Tim? Yes. Kathleen?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Lara?
Yes.
All right, we're now public. Thank you very much. We'll see you December 1st for the joint budget and school board committee meeting.